Hey everyone, welcome to another video on my 4 hours a week project. For the new people, I'm challenging myself to make a full game with only 4 hours a week. A link to the playlist is in the description, if you haven't seen my first video already. I didn't get as much done as last time, because of course not everything is going to be smooth and fast, and there are a lot of challenges in game development and you just can't prevent them. Also, I want to mention 2 things before getting right into it. The first thing is that I really appreciate the couple of nice comments on my last videos, on my first video on the 4 hours a week project and my latest tutorial. I will do my best to make a tutorial every 2 weeks, but if I have time and ideas, I'll definitely try to do more tutorials and do one every week. Next week I have 2 tutorials planned actually on the Universal Render engine, and that one is going to be a pretty nice one. The second thing is that I have received a positive reaction from my teacher on a request to make a game for my end work in school next semester. This means I will be able to spend school time working on my game. So if I decide to do that, I can spend my time polishing up the game much more, and I will overall have much more time to actually work on the game. So I'm actually really excited, and I'm still considering. It will really depend on how I'm feeling about the game then. But that's all, let's get right into the video. Hey everyone, it looks like we're ready again. We're going for another 4 hours of game dev. I'm really looking forward to it, but I have been a little hesitant because it's definitely not gonna be as easy as the first 8 hours, because now there's going to be a little bit more polish, a little bit more hard stuff. The basics are done, so now we need to build upon those basics. But I'm really looking forward, and I'm excited to what I'll be able to finish. I'll definitely try to implement like the next wave button, and I also want to improve the UI and interactions. And if I have time left, I'll also try to make some extra upgrades. I'm the most worried about the upgrading of the magic tower, because he needs multiple beams when he upgrades, and that's actually something pretty difficult. So I'll see how far I get, and otherwise I'll continue next week. So yeah, see ya after 4 hours. The first thing I did was implement the next wave button. It was fairly annoying how enemies kept on spawning, so it was definitely needed to make the game actually playable. This also gave me the possibility to more easily debug my stuff in the long run, because waves weren't going to just keep looping one after another, making it really hard to place towers, upgrade towers, stuff like that. After that, I started on making a better UI for towers to spawn, because honestly it looked way too ugly to keep it up, and it wasn't really efficient to work with, so I decided to improve my UI with some nice circles and a UI that basically looks at the player. By the time that I was done with that, 1 hour already passed, and I started with development of the pop-up UI that could function as a simple upgrade tower. For now, this was definitely fine, but I'm planning on improving the upgrade system later. This was actually harder than I expected at first, and some stupid bugs actually got the best of me once again. After a lot of struggling, I managed to create different levels of towers. These towers would of course function as the upgraded version of the current tower. With that, I also added a flexible script that bases the data from the current tower to the UI, making it much easier to program for me, because I just needed to add the tower to the UI, and basically the UI would just take all the data it needed from it. So right now it displays the tower it upgrades to, the price of the tower, and the money you'll get from deleting the tower. That actually took a lot more time for me as it sounds, and when I was done with it, 4 hours already passed, and I finished my 4 hours for the week. Alright everyone, so I finished for today. Let's see, I do have 20 more minutes, but I'm gonna call it a day for now. I'm pretty burned out because it was a pretty rough development moment for me. Like, things didn't work as I wanted, and honestly, the things I need to do now are much more challenging than the first 8 hours. So it's definitely a much bigger challenge than last week, and I don't feel in peak condition like the first time I did this. I did manage to finish a lot. I added an update system, I upgraded the UI, and I made different archer towers. Next week I'll probably do the magic tower because that's definitely going to be a challenge. And yeah, see you next week, guys. It was harsh, but we pulled through. So yeah, see you then. Alright, here we go again. I'm on the 4th week right now, and yeah, it's time to develop again. Today I'll be doing the magical tower. I also already thought about how I'm going to do it. I personally don't think it will take as long as like the mortar tower and the archer tower, because now I'm slightly more ahead in what I had to do. And yeah, let's go. 4 hours has started, and let's get right into it. Now a pretty tough challenge came up. I wanted to cast different beams from my magic tower, which doesn't sound hard, right? I mean, if I can cast one beam, why wouldn't I be able to cast 2 beams? Well, no, I can't, because now I need to calculate the first and the second to first, and the third one to first, and the fourth one to first, and the fifth one to first, to assign different targets to the different beams. Not convinced it's hard yet? Well, I also need to pull away the beam from the enemies that went out of the range, or the enemies that he killed, and lock the beam to a new enemy. With that, I also had to not work on heavy performance, because of course I could just loop through all the code and all the enemies over and over again and check like that, but that would lag the game way too hard, and that's just not a good idea. It's safe to say that this one took a lot of time, and it started to really work on my nerves, as it of course didn't work on first try. After 2 hours of working on this, I took a break to just take a breather, eat something, relax. After that, I went and worked a little bit more on the magic tower. Like 40 minutes later, I got it kinda working. It was definitely not perfect, but it was presentable, which was already a real burden on its own. So for today, I left it at that, and I went to some other stuff. After getting over that, I decided to do some refactoring, as my game is all completely rushed, and getting as much as possible done in a couple of hours. My code and UI was a big mess, so I decided to take it easy and get to that. It took all the rest of my time left, but with that, I was done with my 4th week. Alright. We're done. I mean, not done with the game, of course, but we're done with today. Personally, I didn't get as much done once again because I'm up against a lot more challenges than other times. It's not about like learning simple new stuff like the VR interactions I did last time. Now I actually have to like work out different algorithms to make everything work together, and that's just so much harder. Like when you get into programming, there's like this learning new stuff, and then there's applying what you learned. And actually applying what you learned, at least in my eyes, is so much harder than learning new things. And when you have experience, you probably can relate to this, that when you actually got the hang of things and you need to actually use it, it gets much harder. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with what I did today. And yeah, I'm gonna give the outro to myself, or yeah, I'm gonna give it to me doing the video. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Bye. Alright everyone, it looks like I gotta do the outro this time. Thank you so much for watching everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. In the right corner you can find the playlist to the first video on the subject, or later videos when they come out. If you haven't seen that one already, definitely like the video if you liked it, and please consider subscribing if you're new here to the channel. Also, comments and feedback are really welcome in the comment section below. I'm working also hard to make tutorials, so if you have a question on how I do something in these devlogs, definitely let me know in the comments. It really helps me out and the channel. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, and have a nice day everyone.